Together, everyone achieves more. Team, acronym. TEAM. Together, everyone achieves more. Team. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what type of builder are we? What kind of builder are we trying to aspire to be? So we're going to go into the book here. Come on in. Brother, let's see who we're going to get to read today. Everybody's just so anxious to read. I'm about to say to Healy, read. You got the camera. So come on, Brother John, you read. Brother Ezra, you read today. Make sure you get over right there so you can see it. Yeah. Get right in front of the TV so you won't be laying up. That's Shabbat Shalom, Kohen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 24, what it say?
Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, the winds blew, and beat upon the house, and it fell not, but it was founded upon a rock.
If you're reading your Bible, as we're reading the verses, because I put this up not for you not to bring your Bible, I put this up on the screen so that as you are going through your own personal Bible, that you can underline certain words, okay? So we're going to do it again. And if you're in your Bible, these are the words you should be highlighting or, circling or underlining. Come on, read it again.
Therefore, whosoever heareth these
Whoever heareth. Come on.
these sayings of mine, and doeth them.
And doeth them. Come on.
I will liken him unto a wise man.
I will liken that person who hears, doeth them, to be a wise man. Come on.
Which built his house upon a rock.
Which built his house upon a rock. Come on.
And the rain descended.
And the rain descended.
And the floods came.
Come on.
And the winds blew, and beat that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock.
And it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. Be more articulate. Okay? Come on.
And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them not.
So now, the person who heareth the word and doeth them what? Not. Come on.
Shall be likened unto a foolish man.
I'm going to compare that person to being a foolish man. Come on.
Which built his house upon the sand.
Who built his house upon sand. Come on.
And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon the house, and it fell, and great was the fall.
And great was that fall. There's two types of builders, because we're trying to discover and find out what kind of builders are we going to be. And there's only two types of builders. If we're building momentum, if we're building something, there's only two types of builders. There's the wise builder, or there is the foolish builder. How many builders are there?
Two.
And what are those two builders?
Wise and foolish.
So you have to decide which one right now are you going to be. Are you going to be a wise builder, or are you going to be a foolish builder? Okay? The wise builder, number one, has the ability to hear instructions. We must hear and follow and obey the instructions if we're going to call ourselves a wise builder. Y'all getting that?
Yes.
We must hear and build upon what we hear using the very best materials and methods for construction. We got to hear and be able to build upon what we hear using the very best materials and methods for construction. The wise builder, number two, has to select the right foundation in order to build. So if you build it, you can't just say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You can't just pick your foundation like that. You have to be wise enough to build in the right location, in the right place, and select the right foundation in order to build whatever it is that you're building. Y'all hearing this?
Yes.
Selecting the site and the material will ultimately determine the future of the house. That's why you got to be careful how you build. Because the future of this house that you're building is going to be at stake.
Right.
So if you're going to just put something together, slap something together, chances are that's not going to stand long. See, because we can do it sloppy or we can do it the right way. Which way y'all want to do it?
Right.
I want to do it the right way. My father was a military man, and his saying to me was, you can do it one time right, or you can do it all day long wrong.
Whoa.
Well, I used to shiver when he said that. Okay, Daddy, I'm going to do it the right way. But he meant what he said. Now, you can clean this room one time right. I'm going to show you one time. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
I'm going to show you how to clean your drawer, your dresser drawer, one time. And then after that, you can do it one time right, or you can just stay up here all day long and clean up until you get it right. Y'all hearing that?
Yes.
The builder must build upon a solid foundation. We can't just build upon whatever we want to. We got to build upon a solid foundation. A solid foundation means it's not. It's solid. It's not tilting. It's not weak, but it's strong. It's solid. It's sure. There is only one foundation upon which to build, and that is upon a rock. Y'all hearing it?
Yes.
The builder must know that they are building upon a rock. It takes time and it takes skill. So that's why we have elders here, older people here. They can see it and got the vision. They may not have the strength to put it together. That's why we got the younger here. Call the old men for the wisdom. Call the younger men for the strength to get it done.
Okay.
So all they got to do is point. Get it over there. Take that. Put that over there. Because they got the wisdom on how this thing's supposed to look. Then you got the younger man that got the energy and the strength to bring it on, pull it all together. Y'all hearing that?
Yes.
You said we got to work together?
Yes.
Nobody is left out of the work. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Nothing escapes process. Everything takes time. Some of y'all, you graduating out of school, you ain't just going to automatically be whatever you want to be. It's going to require you to learn something. It's going to require you to hear something. Hear some instructions. Learn some skills. If you're going to begin to be a wise builder. Y'all hearing this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Wise builders, number 3, they must count up the cost. When we don't count up the cost and we just go ahead and start building anyway, we will be unable to finish and we will bring mockery and shame upon ourselves. So we got to count up the cost. It's so easy to get caught up in moving too quick.
Yes, it is.
We got to take our time and we got to make sure we're counting up the cost. Because everything you put your hands into and everything you start building, there's a cost that is acquired to that, attached to that. Everybody say nothing is free.
Nothing is free.
That's true.
See, so we got to get that out of our mind. Nothing is free, not even this building. We got rent to pay every month. Nothing is free. The food that we serve back there, none of that's free. Everything requires resources. It requires time. It requires treasure. It requires talent. Everything that we do is going to require something of you.
Yes.
You can't just be given something, expect for you won't even appreciate. A lot of times when you're given too much, you don't even appreciate it.
That's true.
Sometimes when you struggle and toil through things, then you learn how to appreciate the hard work, the effort. When the young men and I, we went down to the farm, and they just testified and said, man, that was some hard work. But man, it's something that's needed to be done, but it's gonna cost. They started adding up the costs. And they said, this is only good for a couple of days, man. It's rough. They have to get used to it. That's all. Every person has a house or a life to build. Everybody here. We're talking about building, or what kind of builder we're going to be. And I'm telling you, everybody has a house, and the house is really your life that you're building. And how we build our lives will determine our destiny and the destinies of the generations to come. The way you build your life. Because the younger generation is always looking at the people that were just ahead of them.
Right. Role model.
Okay? So the way you build your life is going to affect generations that come after you. The way you built your life. We're living our life here in America because of whatever our ancestors did. That's why we're here.
That's true.
If our ancestors got up and moved somewhere else and took us to England, France, moved somewhere else, guess what?
That's what we'll be.
That's where we will be. Because whatever way they built their lives is going to affect the generation that's coming. And so we have to understand that and be aware of that. Joshua 24:15, what it say?
And if it seems evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell.
That's just plain, ain't it? Choose. Choose who you're going to serve. If you want to serve the other gods, or do you want to serve the gods of your fathers? But you have a choice.
Right.
What was his choice? Brother Joshua.
But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh.
That's what his choice was. As for me and my house, we're going to serve Yahweh. So he made a decision to affect the next generation. Because if he was going to serve Yahweh, guess what the next generation after him was going to do?
Serve God.
Serve Yahweh. Deuteronomy 11:26, what it say?
Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse.
See, I set before you. You have to know what is set before you. And this is set before each and every one of us. Blessings and a curse. Come on.
A blessing, if ye obey the commandments of the Lord your God.
That's how you're going to get the blessings of Yahweh. The blessing is going to come if you obey what has been commanded or been instructed by the Most High. Come on.
Which I command you this day, and a curse if you will not obey the commandments of the Lord your God.
And the curse is going to come if you don't obey. Come on.
But turn aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after the other gods which ye have not known.
Isaiah 1:19. Look at this.
That ye be willing and obedient.
See, it's something about being willing and obedient. See, a lot of times you may be willing to do something, but if there's no follow through, then it's just being willing to do something. I'm willing to do whatever. But now you have to be willing, and then you have to follow through. You have to obey. Willing and obedience work together. Come on.
Ye shall eat the good of the land. But if ye refuse and rebel.
Just like if you refuse and rebellion, they work together. You can refuse to obey, and then you're going to end up being rebellious. Come on.
Ye shall be devoured with the sword of the mouth, and the Lord has spoken it.
You shall be devoured with the sword. For the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it.
Hallelujah.
That's what happens when you refuse and rebel. Okay? What type of builder are we? There is only one foundation for every life, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, and he was the truth. He declared he was the way, he was the truth, and the life. So what he's really saying is the foundation to everybody's life is the truth. Y'all hearing that? First Corinthians 3:11. Come on.
For other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ.
And he represents what? Truth. Everybody shout truth.
Truth.
That's what he represents, truth. You can't lay no other foundation but truth. Because if you lay any other foundation, it's going to be a what? Lie. There is always an alternative to living soberly and righteously. There's always an alternative lifestyle.
Yeah.
Come on, 1 Corinthians 3:12, what does it say?
Now if any man build upon his foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, and stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest.
So he said, these are some materials that you can build on. If any man build upon this foundation, gold, silver, precious stones, or wood, hay, or stubble, every man's work shall be made manifest. Every man's work is going to be seen by everybody. It's going to be made clear. Okay? Come on, that's what the word manifest means, to be made clear, to be seen. Come on.
For the day shall declare it.
For the day is going to declare your works. Come on.
Because it shall be revealed by fire. And the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is.
So everything that you build your life on is going to be tried by fire to see what kind of work is it really. See? Everything's going to be tried by fire. You need to know that. Every man's work is going to be tried by fire to see what sort it is. And people wonder, man, why am I going through in my life? You're going through the fire to see what you're really about. Why all this problem? Why all this stuff? I thought we had to go. Well, it has to be tried in the fire to see what kind of work it is.
That's right.
Anyone either builds his own life upon lies and deception of this present world, or we're going to build upon the foundation of truth. And we're going to find out if you really got the truth or not when it's tried by fire.
Right.
Can you still stand in the midst of people saying you're going to fall? Because that has to be tried by fire. When the Father told me to stop playing for churches, and I was like, Father, I don't understand. That don't even make sense to me. I had to, when I began to finally obey that word and start doing it, guess what? It was tried by fire.
That's right.
And guess what? I'm still here.
Still standing.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
1 Corinthians, come on, 3 and 14.
If any man's work abide which he hath built thereupon, he shall receive a reward.
So if your work continues on abiding and it continues on moving, he shall receive a reward. Wait. Come on.
If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss.
He's going to suffer loss if your work be burned up. You're going to suffer loss. Come on.
But he himself shall be saved, yet is so as by fire.
So in other words, your work is going to burn up, but you'll still be alive looking at it burn up. So you can know without a shadow of a doubt, this work that you built wasn't built on nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And you're going to look at your work go up in smoke. Anybody ever did something or had some kind of work going on and it all just went up in smoke and just didn't work out? You thought it was of God. You thought it was of the truth. And then all of a sudden you was working your hand to it, and all of a sudden everything that you put your hands to went up in smoke. And you're like, man, I thought I was fine. How could? And then you blaming the devil, you blaming God, you blaming this person, that person. But no one ever looks in the mirror at themselves. I said, man, why was I following that? Why was I listening to that? Y'all hearing this? This word is something else, ain't it?
Yes.
Because he's speaking through one person, but all of y'all are interpreting it in your own mind. Hallelujah. Different foundations. Which one can withstand fire? We got gold, silver, and precious stone. What happens when fire is put on gold? What happens? I just want you to think. What happens when fire is put on silver? What happens when fire is added to diamonds or rubies and those kind of things? Then what happens to fire what happens to these things, materials, when fire is added to it? Wood or hay or stubble. Something just melts, and there's other things that when fire gets to it, it burns up. Y'all hearing this?
Yes.
So we need to question, man, what kind of foundations are we using? What kind of building materials? We're going to use gold, silver, precious stones, or the alternative is to try to use wood, hay, and stubble because it's cheap. It's cheaper to use that. You know? You want to just put it up, man, real quick, we can use wood, hay, and stubble. But if we want to do it right, we need to be using gold, silver, and precious stones. How are you building your life? Are you building your life only on wood, hay, and stubble? Quick money, quick fixes, get rich quick schemes? Trying to hurry up and just put something together real quick? Y'all hearing this? Or are you taking time to make sure you build it on gold, silver, and precious stones, because you know one day the fire is coming. And the fire going to burn up, or either the fire going to melt your stuff down, or you can keep on walking and standing on it and moving it. But the fire is coming in your life to test everything that's going on in your life. This is a good thinking message, right?
Yeah.
I don't expect too many amens and go hit on and preacher. Because I want to elicit the kind of response that make you be like,
Yes.
let me go check that back door. Let me go check the side. Let me go. Yes, ma'am.
I was just thinking, Pastor, when you were talking about the recent events over in Hawaii
Mm-hmm.
and watching how the lava is just eating up everything and burning it.
Yeah.
You know,
Good example.
yeah.
Maybe I should have put that up there, huh? Why didn't you call me before? I could have put that up there. Some people built on top of that mountain.
Yes.
And guess what happened to their home?
It's gone.
It's gone. Because they didn't build it on a rock. They thought they was.
Right.
But they ended up building it on something else that was not able to withstand the natural lava that was coming out. Ain't that something else? Mm-hmm. Your whole life work, you just went up in smoke. But I lived in that house 30 years, 20 years, 5 years. I just got started with this.
Wow.
Don't make it. It's going to all be tried and tested by fire.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, especially when you get back and say, the God told me. And a lot of people do that. You know, they say, God told them.
Yeah.
And then we look 2 or 3 years later and say, man, I guess he didn't tell you. We're looking at the effects of what you believe he told you. And then we can clearly see, no, he ain't tell you to do that. But a lot of people won't be honest enough to say, well, maybe I heard from something else, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeshua teaches again that there are 2 kinds of builders. What are the 2 kinds of builders?
Wise and foolish.
Wise and foolish. This is one of those kind of messages that punch you in the gut because it makes you say which kind of builder you are. Makes you look yourself in the mirror and say, man, what kind of builder am I? Have I been foolish all of my life? If you have, that means everything you've ever done is burnt up and don't mean nothing now. But a wise builder can actually point back and look at things that he has in his life. Look at the decisions and the choices that they made in their life, and say, man, that choice got me here, that choice got me here, and I'm in a good place because of the choices that you made way back then. Watch this. Foundation to life. Wise builders do what? Hear the instructions, and they what? Obey them. Hear and obey. You carry out the instructions. We must realize that truth we accept. You see, I got that in quotes, in what do you call it? Parentheses. We must realize that truth is the material which determines the structure and the fate of our lives. Truth is. And I said the truth we accept, because the truth don't become the truth to you until you accept it.
Right.
Even though it was the truth all the time. See, the Sabbath day was the truth. Whether you was doing Sunday, keeping Sunday, or not. The truth, Sabbath was the truth. But it didn't become truth to you until you accepted it. But it was always the truth. Y'all hearing this?
Yes.
The white man, the pale skin, the blonde hair, the blonde eye, the blue eyes. They said that was Jesus, didn't they?
Yes.
Now, that was a truth that you accepted, but it wasn't the truth, was it? It was actually a lie. So now what you gonna do? Keep walking with the lie, or begin to investigate what actually the Bible truly say how he looked. See, but that was always a lie, though. But it was a truth. It became truth to you. The lie became the truth to you.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to show you.
Right.
It's what you accept.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever you accept. If you accept something, a white man with blue eyes to be the Messiah, then that's the truth to you.
That's the truth.
That's your truth, though.
Show true.
It ain't everybody's truth. It ain't y'all's word truth, but it's truth to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm telling you, we must realize that truth, the truth we accept, is the materials which determine the structure and the fate of our lives. So that if you don't accept a lot of things when it's actually the truth, and you keep pushing back things that's actually the truth, then it's going to ultimately determine the structure and the fate of your life. It's going to determine how far you're going to go. Because people, when it comes to this Bible, I'm going to just tell y'all the truth. All of a sudden, everybody got a doctorate degree.
Yeah.
Now, Sister Stacy, Raquel, is a what? What do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse.
She's a nurse. Okay? Now, that's what she does. She studied that. You got a certificate?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's her field, right?
Yes.
So, Sister Raquel says, Pastor, you need to drink more water because you're dehydrated. How does it look for me to say, no, I don't? I don't agree with that truth right there. No, sister, that's not what I need to do. I don't need to drink no more water. What I need is a Pepsi
Wow.
Ooh.
with a lot of ice in it. And when I got a headache, I'm dizzy, give me a Pepsi.
Ooh. Don't make it worse.
Now, that's the truth. That's my truth, ain't it?
Yeah. That's
Now, what she said was what? Really the truth.
really the truth.
But because I got my own personal conviction and argument, and I'm arguing with somebody who's a nurse, what do I end up ultimately becoming? Why am I arguing with somebody that know and understand and got knowledge?
Going to a diabetic coma.
Well, guess what? That's the same way it is when it comes to the word.
What's going
You
on?
telling somebody how they should conduct their lives, and instead of them, because what happens with her is, I'm the kind of person that I'm sort of at her mercy because I don't know why I'm feeling the way I feel. But based on the symptoms that I give her, she's telling me, you're dehydrated. Drink some water, that's all you need to do. 5 or 6 or 8 glasses of water, you do that for the next 24 hours, 48 hours, you good. That's what she said. That's her advice. That's her medical understanding and knowledge coming forth. Now, I can argue with that, but I'll end up being a fool. So what I have to do is I have to be at her mercy because I don't know if that's the case or not. All I got to do is take her advice. And then if I take her advice and drink those glasses of water and see the outcome of what happened, and if the outcome is favorable, then I can say, she gave me the truth, and it worked what she said.
Right.
I was dehydrated. That was the reason why I was like that. But when it comes to this Bible, people ain't never studied the Bible ever. They only got what Big Ma said. They only got what Big Daddy said. They only got the sayings of the mother in the church.
Yeah.
But none of them ever really opened it up to really see what it said. So here you are telling somebody, Yeshua wasn't born December 25th. Yes, he was. The whole world knows that. Start telling people, Sunday is not the Sabbath. Yes, it is. Everybody go to church on the Sunday. Yeshua didn't die on a Friday and get up on a Sunday. Yes, he did. I heard the preacher say, early Sunday morning, he got up. I heard the preacher say it. And you're basing all of your truth on what you heard said, but you never went to verify what was said.
Right.
So here's somebody telling you what it says, and instead of you just being at the mercy of that person, studying it out, seeing, taking the advice to see, you want to argue with them.
Yeah.
And this only happens in the field of religion. When it has to do with the Bible. Everybody become a scholar.
Okay.
But if you need an auto mechanic and you don't know how to fix something, what do? Go to the auto mechanic. He tells you need this, that, and that, and what do you instantly do? Okay, well, how much is it going to be?
That.
Now, you know what I did one time? They told me that my wife had needed some brakes on her car. So brakes and rotors. Now, I knew she needed brakes, but I challenged the rotors. I said, okay, bring the rotor to me so I can see it. Now, I didn't know if the rotor, when he brought it to me, what it would look like if it was bad. But I just said that to see if he was going to lie. And he said, oh, the rotors do look fine. Because he didn't know if I knew. Are y'all hearing that? So that was like a bluff. I said, bring the rotor to me so I can look at it and see if it needs to be. If you'd have brought it to me, I wouldn't have known nothing. I'd be like, oh, okay, I guess it do need to be fixed.
Wow.
But because I said that one thing, I tested him. And he said, oh, the rotors do look okay, man. We ain't got to bring those to you. You just need brakes. Y'all hearing this? So it's about the truth that you accept. Even though it may be truth all the time, when you accept it, it becomes your truth. Our lives and our destiny depends upon how we respond to the truth. Because the truth requires a response. A truth requires you either to say yes or no. I'm going with it or I'm not going with it. The truth requires some kind of response. And guess what? You're going to be marked by whatever your response is. Even if you don't say nothing at all. You're going to always be marked by that response. And you're going to know in your heart, in your inner man, I should have listened to that. That was my moment of visitation where the Father visited me through that person, that individual, and I didn't listen and I didn't do that, man. And I'm feeling the effect of that. Has anybody ever did that? You didn't listen to something growing up, and then you ended up 2 years later, 1 year later, 6 months later, 2 days later, saying, dang, I wish I would have listened. I wish I would. Can I go back in time?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yes.
If I can only get that time back. And it's too late.
Too late.
Wise builders stand when faced with the storms of life. Wise builders are not exempt from the storms of life, but are able to stand because they have built their lives on the right foundation. If you're a wise builder, you're going to stand all the storms of life. You're not exempt from the storms. You're not exempt from the things that happen in life, but you're going to be able to stand because you chose the right foundation. Foolish builders. What do foolish builders typically do? Build their life on what? Sand. Build their life on things that are kind of shaky. They hear the instructions, but they never come into a place of obedience to what the instructions were or what they've heard. They can't bring themselves to obedience to it. They hear it though. They shake their head to it. They even get up and testify about it. But they won't ever do it. And that's the difference between saints and people who are not saints. Right. See, the devil can only pretend for so long.
Yes.
He can only pretend like he's with you until it's time to do. And then we know, okay, that's what the devil is. See, the devil can only pretend like he's with you for so long, and then all of a sudden you get to the doing, he can't do right. Satan can't do right. And if Satan is in somebody, they ain't going to do right.
Okay.
I want y'all to know something. The wise and the foolish, they both hear the instructions. They both receive the seed of the word. They know how to build, but choose not to build according to the instructions. That's the dividing factor, the dividing point. They hear it, sounds good, they agree with it, they shout over it, they dance, they rejoice. But when it comes to doing, that's where the division comes in. They can't do it.
Yeah.
They won't do it. Because they're a foolish builder and not a wise builder. The wise builder always hears and obeys. That's the difference. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Sand are the lies, the deceptions, and the falsehoods that we have permeated our entire social system. And there's lies throughout everything. and deception throughout everything, and falsehoods throughout everything. And it has permeated everything and every facet of life. And we need to know that. Jeremiah 19:16, what it said?
O Lord, my strength, and my fortress, my refuge in the day of affliction. Gentiles shall come unto thee, the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanities, and things wherein there is no profit.
So if we're following the ways of the Gentiles, what are we ultimately going to inherit? Lies, vanity, and things that have no profit.
No profit.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Simple. Isaiah 59:4.
None calleth for justice, nor pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity.
That's all that can come from that.
That's all.
It's vanity and lie. You trusted in that kind of system, all you're going to bring forth is iniquity. Lawlessness. That's what the word iniquity is, lawlessness. We almost finished. Psalms 144:11.
Rid me and deliver me from the hand of the strange children, whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood.
Woo-wee. He said, rid me and deliver me from the hand of the strange children,
Yes.
whose mouth speaketh vanity, and their right hand is a right hand of falsehood. The right hand usually is the hand that you can trust. You know, you shake on it. He said the right hand is the hand of falsehood, letting you know you're going into the deal with a handshake, and you coming out, that was nothing but falsehood that was just given to you. And the right hand is usually the hand you want to shake. And I found that out in Eastern culture. If you give them the left hand, that's the hand that you go to the bathroom with or wipe yourself with. That's an insult to the Eastern culture. So please, do not give if you're in China or somewhere over east, you do not want to extend your left hand. Because that's an insult. It's an insult. The right hand is the hand that you shake with, because they know what you do with the left hand. And that's an insult to them in their culture. Okay, so something for y'all to know. And how I learned that was because there was a guy at the school that I taught at, and I had my arm in a sling, and I offered my left hand. He was like, don't ever do that, Mr. Tatum. I said, why not? That's an insult. You know, I would slap you for that. I said, you don't slap a one-armed man. I said, you ain't right. No, let me educate. Then he educated me. I said, oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. All right, so don't do that. So I just educated all of y'all. And don't go out and try it anyway. I'm going to give them my left. See, that's what the foolish would do, right? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm definitely going to offer them my left hand now. Just to be smacked by it. All right, hallelujah. Somewhere in the past, our ancestors chose to build on sand. Whoa, that's a hard pill to swallow, ain't it? See, we all shout Hebrew and Israelites, and we think that these people were just the wonderfulest people in the world. God's chosen people. But they chose to build their life on sand. I mean, we can go through the scriptures and we can clearly see they chose to build their life on sand. Remember they said, we want a king to be over us. How was they getting ready to live their life? Build it on sand. When David said, you know what? Let me put Uriah on the front line. Let me take his wife here. Let me come up with a plan. What was he doing? Building his life on sand. When Solomon loved all the strange women, he was doing at that point what? Building his life on sand. When they were getting ready to crucify the Messiah, and Pontius Pilate came out and said, I don't find nothing wrong with him. And they said, crucify him, give us Barabbas, and let his blood be on us and our children. What were they just doing? Building their life on sand. When Paul started going to the Gentiles, and they started acting crazy, talking about, can they do this? Can they have this going? And he started compromising a little bit and saying, no, you can't do this. And he gave them like a little bit of what a starting point was, but because they wasn't really truly understanding what was going on happening, they was already what? Building their life on sand. When there was wicked Israelites in the time of the Greeks in the book of Maccabees, and they went out before them and said, let's join with the heathens, because ever since the heathens have left, We have had so much sorrow. So let's get some licenses for the heathen so that we can do as they do. What were they just doing? Building their life on sand. I'm going through the Bible there.
Yeah.
Huh? So all the way fast forward, 2018, you made the choice to get that loan that was 30% interest.
Wow.
What did you just do?
Ooh, building.
Because you just needed that. You just needed it. Y'all hear what I'm saying though?
Yes.
I'm going to school, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get this student loan, and I'm going to sign my life away. I want to go to school. I got to do this. And here you are 20, 30 years later, and the loan still ain't paid off. What did you just do in that moment, though? Built your life. Come on, y'all scared to say it, ain't you? I done brought it up to y'all right now. No, we want to say David. We want to keep it in that time. No, we want to bring it up to our time. Huh?
Yes.
When you got that car that you know good and well you can pay the car note on, but it looked so good. The salesman was like, "Hey man, come on, get it, man. Look at it. It looked like you, man. Get it now." And you signed it, and you knew you couldn't afford it. You just built your life on what?
Sand.
Yeah.
When you never disciplined that child and never corrected that child not one time, and then all of a sudden that child got up and started cussing you. And before you knew it, they was on the floor, you didn't know what happened to them. Now, when did you build your life on sand? When you didn't raise them, or when you didn't realize what happened to them after you just smacked them or beat them or threw them down the stairs? I guess both of them would be building your life on sand, right? So you forgot that they was your child. Anybody ever forgot your child was your child? And said, "Oh, you know, I thought you was somebody else." You gave me a look, and before I know it, you was on the floor. I don't even know how it got that way. When you know you have had a bad day, but yet still you get on Facebook anyway and say, "You know what, I'm going to answer this one little comment." And you ended up going off having high blood pressure, hypertension. What did you just build your life on? Arguing with somebody. Are y'all hearing this? You know the doctor said cut back. Your sugar is way too high. Y'all hearing this?
Yeah.
But you said, "I got to have one more Twinkie, just one more."
Oh no.
One more Twinkie won't hurt.
Fried turkey cast.
Ooh,
Fried.
fried Twinkies. Huh?
One more Big Mac. Just give me one more Big Mac and tack.
I'm making my stomach hurt now.
Huh?
No, I'm not.
Now you got high blood pressure, diabetes. Now
You got all
you was building your life when you were doing it though on what? When everybody told you not to marry that one. I wouldn't marry that one. I wouldn't. Well, I'm just going right down the line here. Pastor, quick, go to something else. When they told you not to, he ain't no good. She ain't no good.
Oh my God.
But you kept on talking to him anyway. You already building your life on sand. Boy, I'm preaching it here, ain't I?
Yes.
Wait! When you take your parents' car and you go to the city when they told you not to, and you get in an accident or get a flat tire on the expressway, on the damn ride, you was just building your life on a what?
Sand.
That's for future stuff that just may happen. I just want to throw that one out there.
Typical.
Ain't happened yet, but just in case it does. So, are we going to continue on building our life on sand?
No.
But we keep doing it, don't we?
Yes.
In other words, we hear truth, but we didn't apply it. We didn't do it. We didn't really consider it. We heard it like y'all hearing me right now.
Yes.
We went over all those examples. And guess what? Somebody going to leave out here and do the same thing we just talked about not doing. You're going to hear all this truth and still decide to build your house on sand. Anyway, just like our ancestors did and who we praise and lift up. It was 12 sons of Israel and 11 of the brothers wanted to kill the baby boy.
Yep.
They was plotting to put him to death. But they decided to just put him in a pit. And later on the line, we know that they didn't sell him into slavery. We're wise enough to know that, right?
Right.
I had somebody say that to me today or this week. Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. I said, you don't read the Bible, do you? Well, they said that his brother sold him. No, he didn't. You didn't read the Bible. Go back and read that story again. They thought about putting them into slavery. They threw him in the pit. And while they went away from him, who came and got him out the pit? Midianite merchant men. They pulled them out of the pit and took them on to Egypt. And when they came back, one of the brothers came back, they said, he ain't even in there. What happened to him? Everybody looked, what happened to Joseph? They thought about doing it, but they didn't do it. Go read the story again. I just upset a whole lot of religious people. Our pastor just taught that in Sunday school. I just upset a whole lot of people just with that little bit of truth right there. Yes, sir.
I just started realizing that they had like an animated version of Joseph.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they just did it to the Ishmaelites. So,
Even in the animation, they had it right?
you know what I'm saying? The Ishmaelites clearly sold them to the Egyptians.
Clearly sold him. But in the Bible, the translators, they're saying, and his brother sold him into slavery. And they believe that. But when you read the story, you clearly see, no, they didn't sell. They was wondering where it was at. That's why they killed the animal, put it on his cloak, and tore his coat up, remember? To make it look like an animal did. Because they didn't know where he was. They didn't know what happened to him. And that's why they couldn't recognize him when they saw him. Because they had already thought something happened to him. Boy, I'm preaching more than y'all saying amen, huh? In other words, they heard the truth. So what I'm trying to show you is the darkness of Israelites or the darkness of the Hebrews.
Yes.
That even though they were born into a royal family, there was still some animosity, some death there, some stuff there that wasn't right. And you can see it modern time, 2018. You got a whole lot of people claiming to be Hebrews and Israelites, but there's still a lot of darkness.
Yeah.
It is.
Y'all hearing this?
Yes.
A lot of darkness still there. Even though we're the people of the book. If you're not careful, you'll be trying to do something bad or do something wrong. It's darkness. You got to watch it. Hallelujah. We end up building our life on sand. Why they built their lives on sand? 1 John 2:16, what did it say?
For all that is in the world.
For all that is in the world.
The lust of the flesh.
They did it because of the lust of the flesh. Come on.
The lust of their eyes.
The lust of their eyes. Come on.
And the pride of life.
And the pride of life.
It's not of the Father.
It's not of the Father,
It is of the world.
but it's of the world. 3 types of sand. There is the sand of the world for material possessions and wealth of the world. There's a lust of the eye for that. Where you got to have that in order to seem like you're doing something or making it in life. All right? Even though the Messiah says foxes have holes, birds have no nests, but the Son of Man had no place to lay his head. All right? So there is a drive for material possessions and the wealth of the world. I'm not saying you can't have nothing, you can't be well. I'm not saying that at all. I don't subscribe to that. But I'm saying when there's such a drive in you, such a passion, such a lust in you for wealth and power and possession, then that's not of Yahweh. Because the earth belongs to Yahweh and the fullness thereof. Y'all hearing this?
Yes.
And I don't have to own everything. See, I don't have to own everything and possess everything. Hey, if my brother owns it, guess what just happened? I got it too. See, he said he's going to give you houses, he's going to give you land and brethren that are not necessarily blood, brother and all that.
Yes.
He said you're going to have that in this world, 100%. You know, when you begin to follow after Christ. So if you live in Memphis and you say that I'm your brother, I'm your sister, we together, then hey, you got a house with 18 acres of land on it. When I come to Memphis, guess where I'm going to stay? With you on 18 acres.
Yeah,
It's going to be us, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm talking about the drive and the lust for it. So there's one kind of saying that is that. The second one is the saying of the flesh. The pleasures that stimulate and satisfy it. Only the flesh is just going after the pleasures to please the flesh. And some of us have did that. We had too many cookie dough ice creams. And ended up saying, man, I just love it so much. Now I'm not there. Mm-hmm. The saying of the flesh and the pleasures that stimulate and satisfy it. Yeah. Y'all hearing this?
Yeah.
There is a saying of fame and recognition and the pride that comes along with it. Remember they took the Messiah way up to the mountain, Satan did? He did all that in his mind because the mind is the battleground. Right. Remember he went into the wilderness for 40 days to be tempted? And he said Satan came to him, and then he said he took him on a high mountain. And then he said he took him on a pinnacle of the temple in Jerusalem. Well, he couldn't have gotten all of those places because he was in the wilderness. Right. So he went to those places in his mind. And he said, look at all these kingdoms. The Bible says he showed them all the kingdoms of the world in a moment. You should have known it was the mind then. That was the giveaway. Yeah. And he said, I give you all of this if you just bow down and worship me.
Wow.
But Yeshua refused. So it shows you that there is something that we're going to have to refuse. That Satan can bless you to bind you.
Yeah.
Y'all hear that? He can bless you to bind you. I know people ain't heard that kind of terminology before. No. What do you mean Satan blessing me to bind me? Remember, he's subtle. He's wise. Yeah. He understands the outcome of what. He has a desired outcome for each and every one of us. But we have to choose the right thing. Almost finished. This is the travesty of all that. To come week after week, year after year, hearing about the lives of our ancestors, seeing and understanding their mistakes, witnessing the result of their transgressions, because we are 400 years in slavery, right? In captivity, right? And yet building our lives on the same sand they built their lives on. Would y'all call that a travesty? Yeah. Hearing about it, seeing and understanding. You know, I got people right now, I preach something, and they say, if I was David, I wouldn't have done that. If I was Samson, I would not have wanted to get Delilah. I just would not told her the secret of my hair, the secret of my strength, that it was in my hair, not being cut. I wouldn't have did that. But guess what you do? Are y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you preach something, and then your spouse will do this to you. See? He preaching about you. He preaching about you. Come on, y'all. In church, and your spouse doing it. See? That's what I'm trying to tell you this morning. See, look at the preacher got to read your mail.
Wow.
And the same thing that they condemning you on, he done preached about 12 things that they were supposed to do. Y'all hearing that? It works both ways, though.
Yeah.
They say, you know, you point the finger. How many fingers are pointing back at you?
3, 4.
With a thumb, I don't know. I've got the thumb straight up. How many fingers? You point one finger at somebody, you got 3 of them pointing back at you, right? Yeah. We ought to consider ourselves, shouldn't we, saints? We got to. When you start to judge and go after somebody, you better consider yourself. Because I know you have not dotted every I and crossed every T. And we say everybody else is seeing, but then we live in glass houses ourselves. We want to throw stones at everybody else. But we living in glass houses. 2 Timothy says it the best.
Having a form of godliness.
He said having a form of godliness. You building your life on saying, when you come in week after week, hearing everything and building your life on saying, he said you got a form of godliness. Come on. But you deny the power to actually change and be changed. Come on.
From such turn away.
From such turn away. Come on.
For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead them captive silly women laden with sin.
These are the ones that creep into houses and they lead silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. They're able to come in to houses and get all these women who are silly, laden with sin and lust, to be all corrupt. They sneak into houses and they give them a word. I was watching the channel, I think it was the Word Network, and I was watching it. I haven't watched that in so long. I was in the hospital. I watched one patient, and I was watching. I was sitting there looking. I said, man, I haven't seen the Word Network. I think we use it. Yeah. We saw the Word Network.
Yeah.
And I said, man, this place is full of women. The churches are full of women. Mm-hmm. Full of women. Yeah. And the preacher just on it, I know he ain't telling the truth. I'm listening to the word. I said, he got these folks on hype. Well, they dancing. He ain't said nothing yet. Mm. But the whole house is jumping. Mm. Come on. Ever learning. These people that build their house on sand, they always trying to learn something. Yeah. Come on.
Never able to come to the knowledge.
But they're never able to come to the knowledge of what is the truth. They keep searching for the truth, but they never come to it because they're ever in this perpetual learning stage. Y'all ever heard of career students? All they do is go to school. They don't ever want to, they ain't intending to work or do nothing or own their own business or do nothing. They just want to just be in the classroom, being a Greek and a Roman, learning. Come on.
Able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now as Janus and Jambres withstood Moses, to do these also resist the truth.
So do these also resist the truth. See, that's the thing. They resist the truth. Come on.
Men of corrupt minds.
Men of corrupt minds.
Reprobate. Concerning the faith.
They're reprobate concerning the faith. Minds are gone.
But they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifest unto all men, as there also was. So
their works are going to be manifested who they really were. Remember, everything's going to be tried by what? Fire. Okay? But when you build your house on sand, and these things happen, their house is going to fall anyway. So the difference between a wise builder and a foolish builder was the foundation in which they chose to build on. That's the difference. The foolish builder faces the same storms the wise builder faces. What they face? The rain, you remember that? The flood, the wind. The foolish has got to go through the same thing. They are unable to stand but greatly fall under the pressure of life. Coming to a close. I'm about to give y'all these last things. These are the 7 promises that come upon all those who will build wisely. Y'all got y'all pens out? Y'all ready to take notes? All right? This is what we ended with. We're ending with. Okay? Okay. So all of the foolish builders that build upon sand, when they go through the rain and the flood and the wind, their houses literally crumble because they did not build upon the rock, they didn't build upon the right foundation. Okay? Let me give you the 7 promises that come upon all of the ones who build wisely. This is very important for you. Yahweh promises to forgive and to accept us in Yeshua. All right? He promises to forgive us and to accept us in Yeshua. Yahweh promised to empower us with the Ruach HaKodesh as such children. In other words, he promises to empower us with his set-apart spirit. He promises to give us his spirit, his set-apart spirit, to empower us to build, because we're building on a wise foundation. So he's empowering us to get the things that we need to get done to happen and to manifest. So Yahweh promises to forgive us and accept us in Yeshua. And Yahweh promises to empower us with the Ruach HaKodesh, the set-apart spirit, because we are his children.
Wait, can you go back?
7 promises that come upon all of those who will build wisely. Got it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yahweh promises to work out all things, all storms together for the good of them that love Yah, who are called according to his purpose. So everything going, all the storms, all the things going on in your life, everything that's working against you negatively and working against you to try to hinder the work and the flow, the progress of Yah, he promises to work it all out. As we work it out. Because he's definitely in us. Y'all got that? We work things out for our good. And then Yahweh promised to bless those that hear and do the word of Yah. That's number 4. Yahweh promises to bless those that hear and do the word of Yah. Who keep it. Who keep it. Y'all get that? Yahweh promises that if we seek him, we will what? Find him. Who says seeking? You should find. Knock. And the door's going to be open.
I like that.
I know. Me too. When you seek his righteousness first, then all these other things are going to be added to you. When you seek him and seek what it is that you're supposed to do, you're going to find everything you need. You're going to find what you need. Yahweh promises that if you build on a solid rock, you will never fall. You will never fall if you build on a solid rock. And that solid rock is what? Truth. Everybody shout truth.
Truth.
Because Yeshua represented the truth.
Hallelujah.
Truth. Y'all got that? Last one, Yahweh promises to deliver and heal and bring his people back into their own land. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
That's a good promise, ain't it?
Yes.
If that's what he said, he said, man, I'm promised I'm going to deliver you. I'm going to heal you from all your sickness and all your disease.